Telecom sector in India is second largest in the world with a tele density of 85%, but still it has been regulated by century old acts as well as the pre-independence acts. Recently, government has brought Telecommunication Act 2023. So the question arises, how does this act impacts you, right? How does this act impacts you and me and other stakeholders? What are the features in this act? How those features are relevant? How they are upgraded from the previous acts, right? Then what are the concerns regarding this act? What are the criticism of this act? And what should be the way forward? So let's discuss this act. Actually, this Telecom Act 2023, it has replaced the three archaic act, that is Telegraph Act of 1885, the Indian Wireless Telegraphy Act of 1933, and the Telegraph Wires Unlawful Possession Act 1950. So all the three acts will now be replaced by the Telecommunication Act 2023. Now, there will be biometric verification. You must be remembering that earlier what you have to bring for the SIM card. You had to bring one photo and you had to bring one photo identity card, uska Xerox, right? And through that you used to get the SIM card. So means there are situations that many people are having our photo identity card, uska Xerox and our photo, right? So they could have taken that SIM, but now there will be issuing of the SIM card only if there is biometric based identification, right? So this is very important. No one can take SIM in your name if it is not biometrically verified, right? And it is also that on one Aadhaar card there will be at max 9 SIM card will be provided. So the criminal minded people who used to get hundreds of SIM cards, they used to misuse all those SIM cards, so that is not possible anymore. If anything that sort of is being found out that anyone is having more than 9 SIM cards, so at initial stage there will be 50,000 rupees penalty, and if subsequently it is being found that they are continuing this thing, then there will be 2 lakh rupees penalty. So obviously it is for us, it is for our safety and security, right? Pesky callers, you must have got such kinds of calls that someone is impersonating an acquisition during the acquisition of the SIM cards, right? Some other person is going to take SIM cards in place of you, right? So that is not possible anymore. So what will happen if anything that sort of is found out? If anyone is like the pesky callers, so that person can be imprisoned for the 3 years, and they may also get the fine of 50 lakh. There will also be the protection of users like me and you, right? How that they will be protected? So the central government has provided the measures for the protection. For example, you must have got several kinds of messages, right? And those messages you don't know from where this message is coming, and this message has been keep on continuing. Once you visit to a restaurant, so you will keep on continuing that message, getting that message from that restaurant. Once you visit one mall, so you keep on continuing to get that message, and you don't know how to stop that message, right? It is very irritating in nature, isn't it? Therefore, the government under Telecommunication Act 2023 has brought the measures that there will be the prior consent will be required to send any kinds of specific advertisement messages to you. So this will help us obviously. Then there will be the do not disturb registers possible. Yes, just now what is happening that if you go to any mall, so the they will keep on sending messages, and you cannot you have no options to block that, right? So now there will be possibility, there will be options to block such things. Do not disturb registers will be there, and it will allow users to report malware and the specified messages also, right? So that is there. Plus what they used to do, this criminal minded people, they used to have equipments and the tools through which they could send thousands of messages to everyone, right? They could like call thousands people simultaneously. So these are the devices, these are not authorized actually, these are illegal devices. So there will not be any kind of unauthorized equipment which will be used, right? So criminals which used illegal calls and who do international calls, so they are having this custom built SIM boxes, they are having this session initiation protocol and types of calls, they are having this trunk call devices, and they are called having the primary rate interface devices. So such kinds of devices actually illegal in nature, and such kinds of devices will not be authorized further, right? And if anyone is having such kinds of devices and is using such kinds of devices, so under this act that person will be will have to pay the penalty of 10 lakh rupees. So this is obviously a good provision. Now since when this act came into the picture, there was concern whether that the OTT platforms and this other applications, social media applications, which whether it will also be included into this, like the WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, or this OTT platforms like the Netflix, Amazon Prime. So such kinds of OTT, whether such kinds of platform will also be coming under the Telecommunication Act. So government has clearly said that under this act it will not be coming, and there will not be any such apps like the WhatsApp, Telegram, etc., or the OTT platforms like the Netflix, Amazon Prime, which will be coming under the ambit of this Telecommunication Act 2023. Now, what are the provisions which is there for the telecommunication network provider, right? So they will have to authorize from the government. Prior authorization will be required. Prior authorization from the central government is required to do what? To provide any kind of telecommunication services, to establish, operate, maintain or expand telecommunication networks, or to process radio equipments. So any kinds of telecommunication things, any kinds of telecommunication has to be done by the company. So they will be needing prior authorization from the government. No person who is unauthorized in nature, they can provide telecommunication thing. Now, spectrum assignments. You must have heard about the 2G scam. It was a 1,76,000 crore scam, right? So why it had happened? Because it the spectrum was allocated on the basis of first come first served basis, and it was not allocated on the basis of auction. So though after the 2G, so 3G, 4G, 5G, this has been provided through the auction. So again, spectrum will be allocated to the auction, but there will be certain kinds of specified purposes for which auction will not be there. Only it will be done through the administrative methods. What will be there? Like the national security and the defense related matters. If for that this spectrum has to be provided, then obviously government will not be doing auction. For the disaster management, for the weather forecasting, for all these methods, this auctioning will not be required. Government will be giving spectrum to the concerned body, right? So for the BSNL and MTNL also, even when any telecom operator, if they have purchased the spectrum but their spectrum is unused, or some part of the spectrum is unused, it is underutilized, so such kinds of spectrum can be surrendered to the government, and the government can distribute that spectrum to other needy telecom operators. That is also possible through this Telecom Act 2023. Now, you must have heard that this government organizations, they tap your phone, they tap your mobiles, right? They are listening your these conversations. Many a times it happens, right? So that is still possible. So there can be the power to intercept and search, right? The government will have the power to intercept between 2 or more person. It may intercept, monitor or block on the certain grounds, like if there is security of the state, if there is prevention of incitement of the offense, if there is public order that is getting hampered. So in such scenario, there can be interception of calls, interception of messages can be there, means government will be reading your calls, government will be reading your messages, right? So that is there, but it will not be there in the normal circumstances. Only for these three methods, that is whenever there is danger for the security of the state, whenever there is need to have prevention of the incitement of the offense, and wherever there is law and order problem, right, public order problem, in that case also there. Government may temporarily possess any telecommunication infrastructure, networks or service or anything, right, so that immediately that service can be stopped. Plus, government can also shut down internets through these telecom networks, right? For example, you have seen that during this Jammu and Kashmir reorganization, so telecom internet was shut down for several months, right? So that is possible. Now, under the appointment for TRAI, TRAI is the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, and that has been the regulator for telecommunication. What was happening earlier, that only the bureaucrats used to be appointed under the TRAI, but now government has changed this situation, and not only the bureaucrats, but it allows the individuals. What kind of individuals? For the chairman, those individuals who has the professional experience of more than 30 years in this telecom sector, or those individuals who are has the professional experience of more than 25 years, they can be a member. What is the current setup? Currently there is a chairman, there is 2 permanent members and 2 non-permanent members. So among that chairman as well as the members, there can be individuals outside the government also who can be there inside the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. Now, another provisions is, earlier there was Universal Service Obligation Fund. What this used to do? This used to provide telecom services in underserved area, means in those area where telecom services was not there. There is used to provide telecom services. So same thing continued in this act also, but now its name has been changed. Now it is no more Universal Service Obligation Fund. Now it will be called as the Digital Bharat Nidhi, right? And it will be some kind of the fund which will be used to provide in telecom services to underserved area, as well as it will also help in research and development. It will try to have different kinds of research to establish different kinds of equipments, right? So that will also be there. In the Telecom Act 2023, there is also provisions of the dispute resolution. If any stakeholders are any kinds of disputes, they can reach to the concerned authority, and even online dispute resolution is possible. As we had seen earlier also, for different kinds of offences, different kinds of penalty are there. Similarly, for other kinds of offences, penalties has been written inside the Telecom Act 2023, and this is like the, if any telecom operator is providing telecom services without authorization, so that they will have to pay like the 2 crore rupees, or they may be sent to the jail for 3 years, right? If they are breaching the terms, means the whatever the rules and regulations are there, if they are breaching that terms, so they can be penalized, and 5 crore penalty can be applied on them, right? If someone is damaging the telecom network, then that person has to pay the penalty of 50 lakh rupees, right? Also, one very important part is here. Earlier, what is this telecom operator used to have? They used to get penalty of thousands of crores. Even they used to get the 1000 crore rupees penalty. So that was very bad in nature. That was extreme. This telecom network could not function after paying that penalty, right? So now under the Telecom Act 2023, the penalty has been capped, and it will not be no more reach to the thousands crore. Now it can be maximum up to the 5 crore rupees penalty can be there for the telecom operator. So that is there. So this is the features of the bill. We have understood that what is concerned, and we have also understood that how it is related to you and us, right? But to why this bill is also criticized, what are the concerns regarding this act? So there can be mass surveillance and the internet shutdown, as interception is possible, right? So there are situations in which the mass surveillance and internet shutdown can happen. Even the government can have surveillance over the journalist. So that will have the impact that there will not be like free and fair media, right? So it will also violate the privacy, plus biometric data is being taken through these telecom operators. Now how that biometric data will be misused, no one knows. So there is also a problem of privacy here also, right? Plus it does not specify the procedural safeguards with respect to the powers to search premises and vehicles. That is also there. The complete procedure has been not said, it has not been given in the act. Obviously there are chances that it will be coming under the rules and regulations. So there are concerns over this also. What should be the way forward? This Telecom Act 2023 is a welcome act, right? It has abolished it has repealed this 138 years of old act, Telegraph Act 1885. So that is a good thing. Plus several kinds of concern which as a user, as a consumer which we had, so that concern has been taken care of by the government. But the thing is there are some other criticism also. So government has to be responsible, right? So that all the biometric data which is there of the people or the citizen of the country, so that the biometric data should not be misused. Right to privacy should be ensured. It is a fundamental right, right? Unlawful interception should not be there. Unnecessary interception should not be there, right? So all these things should be there, plus there should be proper rules and regulations which should be framed under this act and which should be properly implemented, right? So if properly implemented, this Telecom Act will be a boon for our society, right? That's it from this class. Thank you very much.